Daily Driven 69, and we're back with another video. Trying to keep this video train going. So today I'm finally going to do the kind of short Ram versus Chevy versus Ford video. What truck I would buy right now if I was looking at a new truck to buy. What truck is right for the best situation in my opinion, and yeah, that's about it. Of course, you don't gotta listen to me. This is just my opinion, just stating my opinion, and you could take it as it is. I mean, you could completely disregard my opinion, and you could have your own opinion. I'm just, putting my opinion out there to see if people want to factor it into their purchase. So we're going to be doing the new models, so the refreshed Chevy and GMC HD. I'm going to group the Chevy and GMC together because mechanically they're pretty much the same, and tech they're pretty much the same aside from the Denali's. But we'll group the GMC and Chevy together against the updated Ford, which we don't have power numbers for yet still for some reason, at least last time I checked. So the 2020 Ford, I think it's a 2019 GMC, or no, it'd be the 2020 GMC and Chevy, and then the 19 Ram, the 5th gen or 4.5 gen, as some people are calling it. So we'll start with the Chevy. I'm just gonna go through some pros and cons of each brand. So Chevy, biggest pro of the Chevys in my opinion, but also a con. Biggest pro is it's probably got the best ride quality out of every HD truck, stock for stock. Because that independent front suspension, it's gonna ride closer to a half-ton pickup truck, like a 150 or 1500. But also, it also plays into a con because you lose some durability with that, with replacing joints. A lot, when the joints get worn out, you get a lot of tire wobble. So there's a lot more factors going into the independent front, but it's a pro and a con. If you're using your truck mostly as a daily driver, and you're towing every now and then, nothing stupid heavy, I think it's a good option. I mean, probably one of the better ones for daily driving because of that independent front suspension and that good ride. Another con about them, in my opinion, is the square fender wells. I know on the 1500s, the new 1500s, the Chevys have rounded ones now, but the GMC still have square ones. I'm not sure if the Chevy ones have rounded fenders on the 2500s. I haven't looked at them enough, but at least for the GMC, I know, I mean, you got the square fender, so if you want to fit any bigger tires on it, you're going to have a pretty substantial lift. To fit 35s, you might need a 4 or 6 inch lift. That's just how it is with the square fender wells. So you can take that as pros and cons. If you're leaving your truck stock, it's not really a huge problem, but you just have to mention it. Another huge con to the new L5P in particular is you can't tune them really. Well, you can now, but it costs substantially more than tuning any of the other two brands, Dodge and Ford. I think PPI is the only one that does it. Maybe one other company, but I know it's like $2,500 or $3,000 just for the tunes before even all your other stuff falls off in Mexico. So yeah, higher price to boot to get those, to do some weight reduction on those, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, that's all I really got for the Chevy. I know a big con of mine before they refreshed it was they had no rear air vents for the rear passengers, but I'm pretty sure they fixed that with the new interior, and so that's not a huge con anymore. But another big con for me is the new updated interior just doesn't seem like much of an improvement over the previous LML truck, the last gen. It just looks the same to me, and I know there's some upgraded tech features, but it just kind of looks like they took a step to the side instead of going a step forward. So, and then obviously looks are subjective. I'm not really going to comment on looks. That's all up to you based on looks, but I like the GMC. I don't really like how the Chevy looks. I'll say that. But that's kind of it for the Chevy. So Chevy buyer, I would buy Chevy if I'm mostly dailying it. Some tows here and there. Nothing towing too heavy. Or if you're doing a huge lift on it, it's going to be real hard on the independent front. So you'll be going through joints and all that stuff real fast. So it's kind of a specific market. Unless you're just a Chevy guy, then buy the Chevy. I mean, I'm not stopping you. So onto the Ford. I guess you could say I'm a Ford guy, but I'm trying to be completely objective here. So Ford, the 6.7 Power Stroke. For 2020, we haven't gotten numbers yet, but we have heard from Ford that they're going to be class leading in power and torque. So we can assume it's going to be over 1,000 pound-foot of torque because that's a current class leading with the Ram, and then over 450 horse because that's class leading right now too. So we can assume it's going to be higher than those two numbers because Ford said they're going to be #1 in class for those two numbers. So 6.7 Power Stroke has proven to be pretty damn reliable. Probably their most reliable engine since the 7.3, honestly, stock for stock. I mean, obviously, you can make 6.0s real reliable if you do some work to them. 6.4s were kind of always the oddball. It's really hit or miss with those. So aside from the 2011, 2012 turbo problems with the 6.7, the new 6.7s are pretty darn reliable. They panned out a lot of the issues on them. Same with the 6R140, I think it is their transmission. The current transmission. I think for the 2020s, they have the 10-speed. So I can't really speak on the 10-speed. It's proven to be the 10-speed co-developed between GM and Ford. It's proven to be a good transmission. So in other applications such as the 1500s and the 150s and Camaros, Mustangs. So I suspect the diesel variant will be pretty good, but I can't speak on that. But if you're looking at it 2019, I guess the 6R140s have been pretty darn bulletproof. I wouldn't put them above the Allison of the Duramaxes, but they're right there below them as good transmissions. I would say the Allison is the best transmission out of all the diesels. So Chevy and GM has got the one up there, but the 6R140 is a close second. Let me tell you what, that's a real strong transmission, and you don't really see a lot of them fail unless you're pushing real high power numbers, which in that case you're getting a built one anyways. So it doesn't really matter at that point. 6.7s, you know, they're great trucks, solid axle, Ford. So you're going to get a little less smoothness of ride compared to the Chevy, but that's expected with the solid axle. But it's going to be a lot more durable, less maintenance compared to the independent front. I'd feel more comfortable towing heavier stuff with it because of the solid front. Even though Chevy has got the independent front developed real good, it's more of a peace of mind thing for me. I'd feel way better hauling with two solid axles in a truck compared to independent front and solid in the rear. So yeah, that's about it. The Ford interior, I really love the new Ford interiors. They're real nice. They do need to step their screen game up now compared to the Ram. I never thought I'd be saying that to Ford with the 8-inch screen, but now that Ram has came out with that 12-inch huge screen, they got to step their screen up if they want to remain competitive. So I still love that Ford interior though. It's real clean, real simple. All the buttons are big. No small buttons that you can't get to. I mean, there's big, huge buttons that you could even hit with gloves on. So if that's a big thing for you, then that's good for you. So I love the Fords. I'm a Ford guy, but huge amounts of legroom in the back. They share the cab with the 150, so I feel like the Ford is in the middle, you know. Oops, sorry, phone just fell. And we're back. So there's no really huge reliability issues with the Ford. I think it's a cold side on the intercooler pipe. It's plastic, so it tends to pop off a lot and crack. So if you are getting a Ford, I would recommend upgrading that to a better option on the aftermarket, and there's tons of options. And then once you get an aftermarket option, it's a non-issue. So that's the only problem with the Fords I know of, really. Deleting and tuning, just simple stuff, same as it's always been with the 6.7. Way cheaper than the new L5Ps. So yeah, so if you want your parts to fall off in Mexico, weight reduction, and it's a good option. For Ford, I see the Ford as more of a, depends. I'll get back to what I'd buy the Ford for after we get to the Ram, discuss the Ram. So onto the Ram, the new 2019 Rams. I think they look damn good. Almost look better than the Ford. I still think the Ford has a little edge over it in looks. But I know I said I wouldn't talk about it, but I had to say it. New Rams look damn good. The interior is off the charts nice. Nicest interior in a pickup truck ever. Especially that Laramie Longhorn. That thing gets me going. The color scheme with the big screen. I just love the black and tan and saddle colored leather. So just love that interior. Such a nice truck. Especially with the mega cab. So engine, obviously it's a Cummins, super reliable. Probably the best diesel motor in the industry, better than the Power Stroke, better than the Duramax in my opinion, and it's hard to argue. I mean, they make semi-truck engines, Ford and Chevy don't, so Ram outsources them, and I think that's great. They got a Cummins in their truck, and it's a great engine. Now it's pushing 1,000+ foot-pounds of torque. It's a straight 6 compared to the V8s of the Ford and Chevy. But you know what they say, 6 in a row ready to tow. So the Ram does have a lot different torque band compared to the V8s. It has its torque a lot lower than the V8s, and it makes peak power a lot lower too. So if you're hot rodding your truck, I mean, this is kind of the thing. The V8s are better to hot rod, and the Cummins is more tailored towards towing. So even though the Cummins may have power boost on the 2 as of now, they still probably won't win any races just because of how the power band is laid out. So if that matters to you, there's that. Transmission, so it's kind of hard for the 2500. That 68 RFE is kind of hit and miss. You could build them. Some people love them when they're built, and some people still have huge problems when they're built. So if I was getting a Ram, I wouldn't be buying a 2500 just for the fact that you can only get the 68 RFE. If I'm getting a Ram, I'm getting a 3500, so I get the ASIN. Even though you can't tune them now, they haven't figured out a way to tune them yet. I still think it's a better option having an untuned ASIN versus a tuned and built 68 RFE, because the design has just been problematic. It's shown to be problematic. So the Ram, stupid nice truck, nicest truck on the market, like I said. Just love that Cummins. Same thing as the Ford for deleting and tuning. No tomfoolery like the L5P. So if you want to get your weight reduction done in Mexico, then shouldn't have no problems there. They just make huge power now, and they ride. You can get the one thing I do love about the Rams, you can get the air suspension from factory, controlled, integrated into the truck. That's what I love about it. You don't have to mess with an aftermarket system, mess with aftermarket remotes. It's all warranted by Ram if anything goes wrong, and the truck does all the adjusting for you. I think it's such an amazing thing. I think all the trucks should have an option to have air suspension from the factory, and even lift kits are able to work on that air suspension. If you find, I know Carly suspension, which best suspension in my opinion for heavy duty trucks, for Ford and Ram at least, they don't make any for Chevy. They have a lift that incorporates the airbags. So I mean, if it was me, I'd be getting the airbag truck too. So the Cummins, the Ram, if you're towing day in and day out, that's the truck to get. The power band of the 6.7 is just so set up for towing. They've been proven to get better MPGs while towing. So if I'm towing all the time and towing heavy, I'm getting the Ram. And honestly, I might even just get the Ram for everything, just because it's so nice now. A downside of the previous Rams was they weren't as nice as the other trucks on the interior, so, or not as nice as the Ford. So there was kind of more options to buy, but I mean, the Ram you could kind of buy for everything now. I heard they ride real nice. I haven't been in one yet, so I don't know, but you know, I think it's a good option. But either way, if I'm towing it every damn day, if you have a hot shot business, that kind of thing, I'm getting the Ram just because of the power band, the Cummins. You know it's reliable. And yeah, for the Ford, I think it kind of splits the middle between the two. It's a V8, so it doesn't have that dead set towing power band. Don't get me wrong, all these trucks can tow real great. I mean, they're diesels, they're pushing 1,000 pound-feet of torque, almost all of them. I know all of them push over 900. So I'm pretty sure the Duramax is 910, which is the lowest, or 915. So they're all going to tow whatever you need to tow. I mean, they're all rated for 35,000 pounds now. So I'm assuming the Ford will be, the new Ford, because it was 31 last time. So they're all rated for 35,000 pounds. They're all going to tow what you need. It just, the Cummins is a little more tailored for towing, keeping the RPMs low, keeping the MPGs up. You're always in that power since the power band starts so low. So if you're towing every day, I'd go with the Ram. The Ford kind of splits the middle, like I said. Great daily, great racehorse if you're going racing, ripping up the streets with it because of that high power band. So if I was to buy a truck, if I was buying a dually, I'd either get a 450, F450, or a Mega Cab 3500 with the ASIN. If I was buying a single rear wheel, it'd kind of be it'd be hard for me to pick between the Ram and the Ford. I wouldn't buy a Chevy personally, but if you're mostly daily driving it, the Chevy's a great option just because of how comfy it is. And if you're looking for a soft ride in an HD, I think the Chevy's the way to go. But yeah, that's about it. That's my little opinion on a Ram versus Ford versus Chevy video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share the videos, comment. Tell us what you want to see. I could do more in depth on this video too. Hopefully this weekend we'll be uploading videos. So thank you guys for watching again. Peace. Daily Driven 69 out.